The 2021 iRacing Rallycross World Championship presented by Yokohama has slid its way into sunny Spain. We're just 12 kilometers away from the Spanish coast at a track that has seen plenty of World Rallycross action over the years. However, for the first time today, the circuit to Barcelona, Catalunya hosts World Championship action on the iRacing service. It's been the Subaru Motorsports and Set Esport show so far in 2021. Can anyone upset the dominant forces in Catalan country? We'll find out in the next 2 hours as we say hello and welcome to the iRacing Esports Network for coverage of Round 5 in the 2021 iRacing Rallycross World Championship. My name is Arjuna Kenkipati, and alongside for the action, as always, is Paul Smith with Tyler Maxton in the production truck controlling all the action. Paul, I'm not sure if something's wrong here, but maybe I'm reading my script incorrectly. Maybe I'm also taking a look at something wrong on the iRacing website. Someone's called you an all-star. I have a feeling you may have just clicked the wrong button. You're about to head out onto track as we have the fun with the all-stars about to get underway.
Yeah, this is certainly going to be a bit interesting for me, a bit different than normal. I'm normally behind the scenes talking on the commentary as a colour commentator, and well, it's certainly turning out to be an interesting day and a different turn of events for me, but I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully I can mix up with the big boys.
So there's the Team Mad Ford Fiesta. We'll get a in-race reporter if Paul makes it all the way through to that 10-lap feature. Of course, 12 cars will be in action here today, so plenty of intrigue. Paul's coming around to start a qualifying lap. Paul, talk us around the circuit to Barcelona, Catalunya.
Yeah, you've got to get the car slowed down, fourth gear, hug this inside line, down to third, use the anti-cut curbs to try and turn the car, second gear, up into third through this right-hander, and then you want to keep it tight on the inside here. I've got that wrong, completely wrong there, but there you go. Watch out for the 1X on the exit of the corner there, over the curbs, and then down the gears once again. It's amazing what happens when you're having to talk whilst doing this. Up over the jump, careful not to get your landing wrong. Again, using these anti-cut curbs to try and turn the car and then get it nice and tight and get them the power nice and early. It's fast and frenetic round here, but it's going to be, well, it's going to be chaos, let's be honest, with me on track.
I tell you what, I'll let you focus on your next lap, because already this one's gone for a wash, so you're going to have to reset for that final 3 laps. These drivers will get to set their fastest qualifying lap times. Let's talk a little bit about the schedule so far. As who's hanging out the rear end of their car? Oh, that's, I believe, Jamie Fluke, who's got it all sorts of wrong over the jump heading into that final complex of corners. But of course, round 5 of our 2021 season, it's been a roller coaster so far. The second race on our European swing as well. 7 days from now, we'll head to Hell Lankenbanen for the final of our European races. We'll head stateside for the final 3 races and the run to the championship. Track that's seen plenty of rallycross action in the real world. Even this year, just a couple of months ago, plenty of excitement when World Rallycross came here. A couple of things that regular Rallycross viewers should be aware of, though, when it comes to this particular configuration of the track. You'll note the start-finish line is actually coming out of what is the final corner, that Joker section, as 360 for the 360 machine of Craig Williams. Does mean that the Joker is very much different to how you would approach it in the real world. It's a 2.5-second delta if you take it on any of the first laps of the race, if you take it on the final lap, because it's such a longer run and you lose so much more momentum that you can't then reclaim as you head your way down through turns 1 and 2. It's about 3.6 seconds in terms of the time lost, so do need to be careful. You'll see the Joker off to the right as we ride on board with Roadshow's own Tim Stevens. That is that start-finish line, very different to where the line is in the real world. Also should be noted, just a couple of months ago, this track had a reconfiguration at turn 9, that back straight hairpin that has seen so much action across so many different forms of motorsport. Does mean that the starting position is a little bit more interesting here. We got a very aggressive opening couple of corners. This is the start as well. You'll come across into that, through that tight left-hander, heading yourself into the dirt for the very first time. So qualifying comes to a close. Let's go ahead then and take a look at our Yokohama starting grid for the first of what's looking like 3 heat events leading up to our 10-lap feature. 17 drivers ready to rumble. So here's a look then at that Yokohama starting grid. Great to have Blake Bilko Williams back in the field. He'll be alongside Justin Melillo. Borja Zazo makes his all-star debut here tonight. He'll be alongside Rallycross competitor in the real world, Connor Martel. Zach Campbell returns after a couple of weeks away, while Parker Retzlaff, who has won in our first 4 races already, returns, starts on the final rows of this grid. And of course, because of an inverted heat starting position, Parker Retzlaff with our Yokohama Pole Award as well. We have unofficial, official point standing, so it should be noted that Parker Retzlaff and Craig Williams share the points lead as things run, but still got plenty of racing left to go. Paul will be alongside me when he's not out there on track. So Paul, what are you expecting here on the start?
It's going to be all about that launch. Get yourself to the inside of this first turn because it's crucial to be in front. It's so difficult to overtake here.
On the back straightaway, ready to rumble in Barcelona. Great start from Zach Campbell. Look at him already popping himself to the inside. Melillo tries to defend around the outside. Campbell's gone from the final row up into first, followed in towards the dirt by Blake Bilko Williams. Melillo might have to defend. It's not going to matter because all sorts of contact. Borja Zazo sends him around. It's a chaotic start to this one. Campbell in control as we come across the line very shortly to complete the, well, not going to complete this one without more chaos because Zazo's gone into the tire bundles and spun multiple cars around.
And if you do take that joker too early, if you don't take that before you cross the finish line, you will get a time penalty. So somebody did head on down the joker route, which you can't do on this opening lap.
I believe that was Parker Retzlaff. So Retzlaff and Martel were the 2 cars that got mixed up in that chaos, working their way into this very tricky left-hand hairpin, transitioning from the dirt back onto the asphalt, sent down the inside by Parker Retzlaff, but Martel saw that one coming, managed to do the over-under to hold on to the position. Martel slides deep into the corner. Retzlaff follows him through. Both cars just about managed to avoid heading into the wall too hard. Borja Zazo now behind them, 1.7 seconds behind. Zach Campbell and Blake Bilko Williams have run away from these cars, so it does look as though those two looking pretty comfortable to head to our feature. Here's a look at the iRacing.com replay. Zazo is sideways over the jump and, well, just doesn't get the landing right at all. Retzlaff and Martel get mixed up in the chaos.
Yeah, you do try and use that jump to try and turn the car. So it's one of those strange ones where you actually want to have it jump at an angle to then give you the run through the next right-hander. But a bit too much of a use of the jump there. Nice up and under there from Retzlaff and gets himself ahead of Martel, who, of course, has taken that joker lap.
You should correct myself. It was Martel that took to the joker the first time around, so it does mean that he's in a slightly better position. It's about 2.5 seconds if you don't take the joker on the final lap. That's what the World Championship drivers will be focusing on, making sure they don't come down onto the joker too early, too late in the race, I should say, because the momentum you build coming out of that joker in towards those opening couple of corners on the lap really does negate some of the time loss that you have coming through that complex. Blake Bilko Williams is closing the gap on Zach Campbell. Not the first time that we would have seen some shenanigans from the Koana Simsport driver. We saw at Atlanta, Campbell did not want to lead because, of course, inverted in the heat races, but inverted in the feature as well. So if you win here in this first heat on the day, Paul, they'll be starting at the very tail end of our 10-lap feature, which will have 12 cars as well. So we saw how chaotic this start was. Imagine with double the cars out on track.
What are you on about? He explained he had a throttle problem. Yeah, that's what the problem was. He wasn't slowing down deliberately.
It was engine troubles, which I told him
yes.
There's an easier way to get engine troubles, especially at Atlanta. Just land a little bit too far on the jump, because that can really compromise you. Bilko Williams had a moment on the timing tower, but seems all okay. Zazo and Melillo have taken to the joker this time around, by the way, so just does leave those final couple of cars to do so. Retzlaff is going to wait till the final lap. Might we see an interesting joker merge between Blake Bilko Williams and Parker Retzlaff? Bilko Williams is having to fight with Connor Martel just behind Parker Retzlaff. Martel's going to hold out in front. So now watch for the joker delta between Retzlaff and Martel. The gap between those cars, 1.5 seconds. Retzlaff's in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, he certainly is. And Martel He made that joker early, got it out the way, he's then being able to focus on his laps out there. But right now, I mean, Zach Campbell is so far ahead, he can't possibly lose this victory.
Never say never. What shenanigans does Zach Campbell have?
He's not taken the joker.
No, he has.
Oh, he has, sorry.
He must have done it the last time around. Watch this, though. Watch the merge. Martel just in front of contact between Parker Retzlaff and Blake Bilko Williams. That is going to be a hot-button topic when we get to the World Championship, because we saw that in our All-Star Invitational earlier this year. Contact on the Joker merge has caused chaos before. Here's a look at the results from heat number 1. Campbell and Martel advance to our feature. Retzlaff in front of Bilko Williams. Borges-Azzo on debut heads to the last chance qualifiers along with Justin Milillo. Let's take a look then at the grid for heat number 2. 17 cars in our field today, so it does mean 5 cars will miss out on our races. Results update there. Connor Martel, because he took the joker before he actually crossed the line for the first time, will not advance. Here's a look then at your Heat 2 grid very quickly. Robbie Lyons alongside Connor Daly. Great to see Daly back in action. Arrow and Trevor Teal on row number 2. Tim Stevens and Jamie Fluke on the final row of the grid. The most dapper man in our field alongside the nicest guy in the iRacing service. It does look as though we've got some more time. So yeah, we should explain what happened there, Paul. Because Connor Martel took the joker before he had crossed the start-finish line, he got a very significant penalty. It's something that you just don't know until you do it, I guess.
Yeah, it's something that a few of the tracks like Daytona at the start of the season, that's another one where you can't take the joker the first time around. You have to wait until you've crossed the finish line before you can take a joker here in this series. But we're getting ready for the start this second heat.
Let's hope it's a little bit more calm than what we saw last time around. 6 cars ready to go in Barcelona for heat number 2. Jamie Fluke gets a great launch, 4 wide on the entry into the corner. Connor Daly yoinks the handbrake to get himself turned around and spun around. He is still side by side with Robbie Lyons as they dive their way onto the dirt. Jamie Fluke aggressive on the entry, but opens the door for Arrow to slide it down the inside. What a move from Arrow up into second.
Oh, Fluke's got contact as well. He's going to be falling to the back of the field. Absolute disaster for the Northern Irishman.
Oh,
we've got Robbie Lyons has had an issue as well.
Yeah, Robbie Lyons, who was leading this race coming across the jump, is proving just how treacherous that jump really is. Arrow now takes the lead, and I'm sure he's got a big smile from ear to ear. We talked to him last week, Paul. We know just how much he's been enjoying these all-star races. Let's take a look at the iRacing replay then. What happened here to Jamie Fluke? I believe this is actually not the replay. We'll have to see. Oh, here we go. This is the iRacing replay at all. Jamie Fluke into the wall. Yeah,
he hit the edge of the end of that concrete barrier, so you can see how it's not protected by the jump either, so that will have really affected him. Fortunately, in these all-star races, we have got the damage switched off just to help some of those newer drivers into this series, me, to be able to cope and to be able to finish these races.
What are you talking about, Paul? I know you're the cleanest driver. You're not a touring car driver by any means. Trevor Teal, the other car that was involved in the shenanigans with Jamie Fluke. These two resume the hostilities. Robbie Lyons has dropped from the pole now to the tail end of the grid. Oh, look at that move potentially coming from Jamie Fluke. Oh, Trevor Teal makes a bit of a mistake. Lets the Northern Irish driver through. Must be noted as well, rocket launches from both Jamie Fluke and Zach Campbell, so clearly Porsche Tag Heuer Esport Super Cup experience equates to rocket launches here in these Rallycross machines. Of course, 0 to 60 in about 2 seconds. They are incredible in the pace that they can go. Arrow is taken to the joker this time around, fed himself right behind Connor Daly, so Arrow in a really nice position to advance his way straight into the feature here.
Yeah, certainly. He's giving it the best opportunity. Oh, Daly into the tyres. That's going to allow Arrow to come alongside. More contact. Arrow's around.
And Tim Stevens helps him around a little bit more. I thought for a moment he'd survive. And now Tim Stevens makes a mistake. Jamie Fluke arrives on the scene. So does Trevor Teal. This is utter carnage. I'm telling you what, Paul, these All-Stars, they really do put on a show.
Carnage, chaos, disorder. What do you expect from your all-stars here at Barcelona? It all kicked off with Connor Daly then, getting into the tyres. Aero then gets into the side of him. There's more contact between the two of them. Aero goes around. Connor Daly carries on. Then Tim Stevens gets caught up on the tyre barrier. There's Jamie Fluke coming in to punt him round. He reverses, and then another car comes round and hits him.
Connery Maddox somewhere is twitching with some of those rejoins there. That's all I will say. Does mean that Fluke might still be in with a shot of advancing through to the feature. I tell you what here, Trevor Teal is also not taken to the Joker, but he's 7 seconds behind Connor Daly. So Jamie Fluke might come down to the Joker this time around or the next. It doesn't really matter. It does look as though Connor Daly, on his return to the iRacing All-Star Invitational, heading straight through to the feature. So there we go. Fluke to the Joker. Watch the speed that he carries, though, in comparison to the IndyCar driver. To the inside comes Jamie Fluke. The U.S. Air Force machine is trying to hang it around the outside, but Fluke gives him no option but to concede. Fluke to the race lead.
Oh, it was nicely done by Fluke. Put Daly into a compromising position. You can hold that line because that tight hairpin, you're on the wrong line and you have to slow right down. But yeah, this is really good though. Nice return for Connor Daly.
I'm loving this. I mean, yes, it's a little bit more chaotic than what you'd be accustomed to, but compared to what we'll see with the World Championship drivers at a track that is tricky and notoriously difficult to pass at, these All-Stars putting on a show. Jamie Fluke wins heat number 2 on his return to the All-Star Invitational. Connor Daly follows him straight through to the 10-lap feature. Tim Stevens, after his double unsafe rejoin, will come across the line in 3rd. Aero 4th. Trevor Teal hits the tire barriers once more in what was a chaotic race for him to finish in 5th. Just waiting now for Robbie Lyons to come across the line. Might be a little bit of a wait for the e-racer machine, so here's your provisional Heat 2 results. Still waiting for Lyons to come across the line. And Paul, are you ready to go? Because you'll be on the grid for our next and final Heat race.
Yeah, for some reason my anxiety's just skyrocketed right now.
Well, I tell you what, you've got a slightly easier chance of getting through because not 6 cars, just 5. Ron Capps alongside Paul Smith. In-race reporter, man with the flat hat as well. Craig Williams has won so far this series. He's also leading the points, tied with Parker Retzlaff. He'll be alongside Luke Knupp. GoPro Lopez, once more quick in qualifying. We'll round out our 5 cars ready to go here for the final heat on the day. These All-Stars, they put on a show. We'll be keeping a close eye on our colleague, Paul Smith. Great to have that mix of cars as well. Fords, VWs, and Subarus all represented. As for the final time today, heat racing for the All-Stars. 5 laps on the board, and we are getting ready to race in Barcelona. Of course, on the back straightaway where so many memorable moments have been made across of so many disciplines in real-world motorsport. Today, history is written in the iRacing Rallycross World Championship. And away we go. Paul gets swarmed by the field around the outside. Brave move from Luke Knupp, but it's going to cause chaos. Knupp into the wall. GoPro Lopez scrambles his way through up into 2nd. It's Craig Williams versus Paul Smith as Ron Capps makes a mistake. GoPro Lopez trying to take advantage. 3 wide on the edge of the jump. That was never going to work out. Craig Williams on his roof, and somehow Paul Smith has scrambled through.
I'm bleeding!
There was a mad scramble to take to the Joker first time around, so basically everyone except Paul Smith is looking at a penalty. Paul Smith is 4 seconds clear of the entire field, Paul.
This isn't right. No, it doesn't feel right at all.
Oh, that was crazy, and these drivers didn't get the memo from Connor Martell early. So look at this replay. Just watch this. Things stack up as Ron Capps hangs the rear end out. GoPro Lopez almost into the tire barrier. Craig Williams, poor Craig, well, into the wall and then onto his roof. And then mad scramble as they tried to come down onto the Joker. And, that's Luke Knupp who's had an issue coming over the jump. Just illustrates how tricky that jump can be. Ron Capps gets mixed up as well. Tire barriers going for all sorts of rides here today. I only had 2 laps done, and well, I'm loving this action, and just an indication of how tricky, how technical this track is. Might be the most technical track that we've visited so far. 60% asphalt, 40% dirt. Paul Smith coming under attack from GoPro Lopez, but it's still looking like these 2 cars will advance. Paul, what's your strategy for Pablo behind you? I'm sure you're not going to be looking too far behind and just want to let him through. Craig Williams still on his roof.
Yeah, he's still there. I'm taking the joker this lap, though. Get it out the way.
So full focus as GoPro Lopez has followed you through the joker.
Oh, I think he realised that he took the joker on the wrong lap. Oh, that's a bit understeer.
That's not the right line, Paul. Watch this rejoin. Pablo GoPro Lopez will come down the inside. Paul Smith almost uses the chrome horn there. Touring car experience for the Team Mad driver. Doesn't necessarily go that aggressive. And of course, GoPro Lopez is looking at a time penalty. Oh, different lines through that left-hand hairpin. That's what we're going to be talking about with the World Championship drivers as well. There's many different ways to find time. On board with a dirt fish on board then. Paul Smith yoinks the handbrake to get that car rotated. Craig Williams, a turtle in the middle of the track, it would turn out for the time being. This time around, 2 laps to go. Paul, if you hold this gap to Pablo, you know you're going to win this heat.
Yeah, it's, I would like to hold this gap. It'd be nice, but he's just a bit quicker than me as GoPro, but I'm giving it a go.
That's no shame, Paul. You're keeping up with a World Championship competitor who, of course, has World Championship experience dating back all the way to the Williams and McLaren F1 cars. So a really impressive job. Maybe you want to help Craig out a little bit, because I think Craig is... Oh no, Craig's been helped out, so Craig is finally not going to be in your path as you enter the jump. One more time around this 1.14 kilometer circuit. GoPro Lopez in control, but of course time penalties for 3 drivers expected. White flag in the air. One more lap in heat number 3. So Knupp is about 11 seconds behind Paul Smith. Ron Capps a further 6 seconds adrift from Knupp. We've seen pace from Knupp on occasion as well. He's been one to watch so far. Not always consistent, and when he won his race, did have to go through those last chance qualifiers. So the young teenager definitely just builds his pace throughout the course of these events. They are relatively quick fire. I mean, we're talking about from heat number 1 to the feature, less than an hour's worth of action, but plenty of track time. GoPro Lopez, though, showboating over the jump. It won't matter. He'll cross the line in front of Paul Smith, but Paul Smith will win the final heat of the day. GoPro Lopez will advance with Paul Smith, Luke Knupp, Ron Capps, Craig Setup Shop, all heading then to our last chance qualifiers. Paul, no racing driver excuses from you now.
I've got a sticking brake pedal, but yeah, that was fun, wasn't it?
That looks like so much fun, and I'm a little bit jealous. Here you go. Here are your results as confirmation. GoPro Lopez actually has such a significant time penalty that he's going to the last chance qualifiers. That is interesting because Ron Capps has taken advantage of that. Capps will head through then along with Paul Smith, but we're ready for those last chance qualifiers. So let's take a look at the Yokohama starting grid for the first of 2 last chance qualifiers. 3 drivers in each of these races will advance. 2 will say goodbye from Barcelona. Bilko Williams and GoPro Lopez on the front row. Aero and Conor Martel row 2, while Craig Setup Shop and Craig Williams, plenty of 360s for him in that last race, hoping for a bit more luck here today, or in this last chance qualifier, I would hope, because it can't go much more calamitous than it did for him last time, Paul.
I hope those drivers were watching how I started it. It was a perfect start from me. Bully people out the way, you then get into the lead. That's what you need to do around here.
Elbows out, argy-bargy from Paul Smith. Here we go then. 5 laps on the board. Last chance qualifier number 1, ready to go. Wait for the engines to rev and for the cars to scramble their way on through the start. It's a good launch from Craig Williams, but GoPro Lopez clear of the field. Martel trying to follow him through. Williams uses the bumper on Bilko Williams, forces that Subaru through the opening couple of corners. Then Bilko Williams runs through the back of GoPro Lopez. Conor Martel tries to take the lead. Somehow Lopez has managed to hold on to second, and well, Craig Williams into the wall once more on the entry into the jump.
Oh, it was looking good for Bilko, wasn't it? And then, Aero's taking the Joker before he's gone past the finish line. Hasn't he learnt from everyone else's mistakes?
Oh, poor Aero. That might be his day done as Craig Williams sends Bilko Williams for a bit of a drift. Williams versus Williams, and Blake Bilko Williams into the tire barrier.
Oh, nice 360 around the tyre barrier, though, from Bilko, so good recovery nonetheless. But GoPro Lopez right now, you know, he's really quick in this Fiesta, I must say. He seems to suit it really well. But Conor Martel, you know, he's been showing some good pace throughout this All-Stars Championship.
Look at that jump as well. So GoPro Lopez goes this time around. Will it give him the clean air, or is he going to come out right behind Craig Williams? He'll be close on the merge, but that's the speed. Elbows out. Williams hangs the rear end out on his car. Good car control, though, from that Beetle to hold on. And remember, 3 cars advance here. So Aero's already basically out of the equation here. Blake Bilko Williams had some sort of an issue. Further to what we saw coming down in through the twisty bits into the hairpin last time around. So might be day done for Blake Bilko Williams as well. So now just keeping focus and trying to get track position, grid position for our 10-lap feature. And of course, that's an inverted 10-lap feature as well. So you finish 3rd in this race, you'll be starting up in 2nd in that feature. So maybe a little bit of gamesmanship for some of these drivers as Craig Williams peels off onto the Joker.
Yeah, that's, I mean, we've seen Craig win races, haven't we, in this series? So he knows what it takes to win in the All-Stars. And right now, with all those collage of faces on his car, he's certainly doing a good job to finish 3rd place and give himself the best opportunity.
Might be my 2nd favorite car in the entire action that we're going to see today. I do like that Nitro Circus machine.
Martel's had an issue.
Has Martel had an issue? Or
yeah.
Oh, he hasn't taken to the Joker yet, so you are right. Left side of the screen, you'll see the 21 car yet to come down onto that extended trip around this double left-hander. Not sure exactly what happened, but the iRacing replay tells all. Oh, he pits himself on the tire barrier and, well, almost rejoins right into the path of Pablo GoPro Lopez. That hairpin is going to be a trouble spot. Unsafe rejoins, and they're amusing here in the All-Star Invitational, but when we get to the World Championship, Paul, it's not amusing anymore, and you might get penalized for doing something like that.
Yeah, the iRacing stewards will be looking harshly at any sort of unsafe rejoin, so that's something that, okay, the World Championship drivers may be a bit quicker than these drivers here today, but they should be keeping an eye on this and thinking, right, we need to be careful on the rejoins. Oh, GoPro up on 2 wheels there as Martel takes to the Joker.
Is Martel going to be in front of Craig Williams? How close is it on the merge? Looks like Martel will be clear of the 360, so it will be, if things hold as they are, GoPro Lopez, Martel, and Craig setup shop on through. Of course, Craig is going to be starting from 2nd position. Can he back up his victory last time out from Brands Hatch? What a race that was as well, we must say. Brands Hatch really did put on a show. Another venue with so much rallycross heritage, not as recent as the World Rallycross action here at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, but GoPro Lopez through the final corner for the final time. He wins the first last chance qualifier. He'll advance along with Conor Martel and Craig Williams. So that means we say goodbye from the Spanish coast to Mr. Aero HD in the Traction GG machine and Blake Bilko Williams in the Yokohama Monster Energy car. We'll see them in 7 days' time in Hell Lankenbanen. What a rallycross venue that is. Here's a look then at those official results. Interestingly, you'll see now, there you go, Aero's updated. He is finished behind Blake Bilko Williams. Let's go ahead then and take a look at the Yokohama starting grid for the final last chance qualifier. The most dapper man in our field, Tim Stevens, will be on pole. Alongside is the debutant Borja Zazo. Luke Knupp and Trevor Teal share row number 2. Justin Melillo and Robbie Lyons, 5th and 6th position. And so as I was mentioning, Paul, you've raced now at this on the start, so you can tell everyone what it's about. Current configuration of this track is a little bit more of a wide angle corner. It uses the new banked turn number 9 to carry a bit more speed. This is a heavy braking zone as you rejoin the regular circuit on the start.
Yeah, it's so tight through that first section, and it's all about just trying to get yourself a clear lane and get out of that hairpin at the start of the lap, and then you can sort of figure out where you are going to end up in all of this. But it's all about that great launch off the start.
We've seen some incredible launches so far. Of course, maybe just indicates as well that other drivers haven't had the best of runs. Here we go then, 5 more laps on the board. The final last chance qualifier ready to go from Barcelona. Robbie Lyons doesn't get a great launch, but it's 3 wide on the entry. Borges Zazo into the race lead. Tim Stevens holding the inside. Trevor Teal, Luke Knupp elbows out on the entry onto the dirt. Stevens looks to the inside of Zazo, gets his elbows out straight away. Knupp tries to go the long way around, but door gets slammed shut. Stevens in front. There's a bit more argy-bargy right behind. Knupp's up into second. Incredible start to this race, and somehow the cleanest start we've seen as well.
And, oh, I was about to say that everybody's gone through and not taken the Joker, but the driver at the back has taken the Joker early. That's going to be a penalty. Oh, dearie me.
So that's Robbie Lyons. Poor Robbie Lyons. He had a bit of a... He was bullied in his heat race, I think that's to put it mildly, and now makes that mistake. Effectively ends his chances. Borges Zazo very wide on the entry into the hairpin. Trevor Teal thought about the over-under, couldn't get it done. All this is allowing Knupp to stack these cars on up. Bit more contact between Zazo and Knupp has sent Knupp sideways. Zazo sideways as well. Contact between the two of them once more. Trevor Teal is loving this. Around goes Knupp. It ends in tears.
Oh, it certainly does end in tears. Zazo nearly ended up and over there out of that one as well. But, you know, the streamer, Borges Zazo, he has plenty of experience in iRacing. I don't know how much of IRX though, because I've actually raced against Borja in the Skip Barber series, so you know, it's always good to see him out here, and he's always entertaining.
And I'm pretty sure, I would have to confirm, but I'm pretty sure Borja is from Spain as well. So,
yes, he is.
Justin Melillo makes the mistake through the hairpin, knocks the tire barrier over. Robbie Lyons will take full advantage to not be last in the field. In towards the final corner. Tim Stevens a little bit deep, but you can do that and arc yourself to get the run as close onto those tire barriers on the inside of the corner to build that momentum up. Borges Zazo takes the Joker this time around, has come out behind Trevor Teal. Here's a look at that replay. Contact over the jump, and not much that Knupp could really do in that position. He was always going to end in tears for him. Still might have a chance, though, if he can find some pace and maybe spring a surprise on Teal and Zazo. If these two cars want to continue fighting, I mean, we'll love it, Paul, but Knupp's out of the picture here.
Well, I mean, the thing is, you know, Teal and Zazo, really, it's the fight over who wants to finish third here, isn't it? Because of the inversion of the grid, it means that, you know, Zazo at the moment should, in theory, be starting up on the front row of the grid. So, yeah, let's see how they fight each other out. But Stevens, he's way out front at the moment, having a really good race out there. And he is the most dapper man in all of racing. Look at him. He just such a gentleman. And, well, he isn't a gentleman when he's out there on the track. He gets his elbows out.
You can't be a gentleman in Rallycross. You definitely cannot do that in a cage match on wheels. I tell you what, Knupp is closed on Borges Zazo. It is not done for our final transfer position. There we go. Zazo's a little bit wide through this right-hand sweeper that leads you onto the jump. I think Knupp might have a chance here. It's going to take an almighty send and potentially the bump and run as well. That's not going to help. Knupp a little bit too deep into the corner. One more lap to go. Tim Stevens has taken to the Joker, so it's all about the battle for that final transfer position.
I think Knupp was trying a little bit of retribution there for what happened over the jump, but just timed it wrong and didn't quite get to Zazo. But this is not over here, not yet by a long shot.
9-10 separates 3 cars. We've seen Zazo make some mistakes through this right-hand sweeper that leads you to the jump. Can he keep it tight? No, he doesn't. Goes a bit deep. Knupp to the inside. Will these two come to blows once more? Knupp thought about it. Hits that wall that juts out to the right-hand side. Tears then for Luke Knupp, but Tim Stevens wins. Last chance qualifier number 2. Trevor Teal, Borges Zazo advance with him. Well, Barcelona, not known for putting on a show, but the All-Stars have really put on absolute craziness and some incredible racing as well, Paul.
This has been tremendous to watch and to take part in as well. But Tim Stevens, it was the drive that he needed to do, just be out there at the front, not get involved in any silly incidents, and that's got himself a win here in that last chance qualifier.
And so it does mean, with 3 of these cars advancing in each of the last chance qualifiers, reminder, 12 car grids. So double the amount that we've seen on track so far today. But feature racing action about to happen here at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Don't go anywhere. That's coming up right after these messages from our partners.
Take your driving to the next level at Dirtfish. Gain confidence behind the wheel of an all-wheel drive Subaru STI or rear-wheel drive BRZ. Get sideways with skills on gravel, mud, and tarmac. Dirtfish offers programs for every driver. Visit dirtfish.com for details.
Welcome back to the iRacing Esports Network for coverage of the 2021 iRacing Rallycross World Championship presented by Yokohama. There's one thing that separates first place from the rest of the pack, the finish line. High-performance, race-inspired Yokohama Advan tires give you the drive to win. Discover Advan at yokohamatire.com. My name is Arjuna Kenkipati, joined alongside by Paul Smith, who is not just commentating on today's All-Star Invitational, but is apparently an All-Star as well. Tyler Maxson in the production truck controlling all the action. Paul, you won your heat, so I don't want to hear any racing driver excuses now. I'm expecting big things from you here for our 10-lap feature.
Yeah, I think you'll find it's race-winning co-commentator Paul Smith right here. I'm not going to... that is it now, Arjuna. You're not going to hear the end of that for the rest of the season. But this is going to be tremendous. I mean, I'm just failing miserably at trying to do some practice here before the feature race. But 10 laps, I'll be honest with you, I've not done a stint this long. So this is going to be interesting to see how I get on here.
I tell you what, let's talk a little bit more about this facility at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. We are 12 kilometers away from the Spanish coast as we take a look at an iRacing track map. This venue has seen plenty of rallycross action in Full Metal Motorsports dating back to 2015 when Petter Solberg took the inaugural World Rallycross win here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Since then, this race has been swept by Swedish driver, twice by Mattias Ekström, once by Johan Kristoffersson in 2018 before Timmy Hansen went back-to-back. Johan Kristoffersson won the second race in 2020. This year, Kevin Hansen took his step onto the first step of the podium here. 60% asphalt, 40% dirt, but crucially, Paul, the Joker. First, I have to say, it's the first time that chicane that was added for Formula One a while back has been useful. The less said about that corner, the better. But if you take the Joker on the final lap, it is not a 2.6 second delta. It is closer to 3.5 seconds, and that's because of all the momentum you carry in through turns 1 and 2. So Joker strategy is pretty simple. Don't take it on the final lap of the race.
Yeah, you've got to do that on the... don't take it on the first time by, obviously, because that's a penalty. Try and get yourself a bit of free space out there and to find a gap in this field, but with so many cars on this grid here for this feature race on such a tight, twisty track, that's going to be easier said than done for sure. You're going to see a lot of people maybe taking it on the first 2-3 laps, but with it being a 10-lap race, it just gives you that little bit of strategy play.
And remember, don't take it on the first lap, Paul. Or rather, don't take it before you've crossed the start-finish line for the first lap, because we've seen that be an all-too-frequent occurrence here in the All-Star Invitational.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only reason I won the race, let's be honest. But I'll tell you what, there's been more than one making that error here today. And, you know, I think these drivers are just so hyped up, and because they've not really raced around here that often, of these All-Stars, it's new to them.
When the All-Star Invitational came here earlier this year, the All-Stars didn't actually race at Barcelona. Only sim racing's finest did. Instead, All-Stars went to Daytona. Let's turn up the most famous song in all of esports, though, and take a look at our starting grid for our 10-lap feature here today. So Borges Azo, as a result of the inverted grid here, will start on pole. Alongside will be Craig Williams. He's had plenty of bad luck, but the last time he was on his roof, he finished on the podium at Daytona. Trevor Thiel and Connor Martel share row 2, while Tim Stevens and GoPro Lopez, plenty of speed between the two of them, 5th and 6th positions. Ron Capps and Connor Daly, both drivers in Full Metal Motorsports, then on row number 4, Parker Etzlaff and Paul Smith on row number 5. Row 6 is all about Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup competitors, Jamie Fluke and Zach Campbell on the final row of this grid. So Paul, just have to be a little bit careful on this start, because we're looking at you guys now, 12 cars ready to storm your way into turn number 1.
Yeah, I'm not liking the sight in front of me, let's be honest, or the sight behind me.
You've got Jamie Fluke and Zach Campbell. I'm sure they'll be very, very nice. But here we go, 10 laps on the board. The All-Stars are ready to race in Barcelona. And away we go. Who's going to get a good launch? Zach Campbell is hanging back and sends it down the inside. There's utter carnage, though, through the first corner. Ron Capps has gone around, out front and in control. Borges Azo and Craig Williams. Look at Zach Campbell. He's going for those video game strategies, I tell you, riding the wall, already up into 7th position, but they funnel their way down into the jump. The Vermont sports car machine of Connor Martel has had to go the long way around the jump. More carnage. Martel goes around in the background across the start-finish line for the very first time. Side by side, Zach Campbell and Tim Stevens. Zach Campbell told us he was going to put on a show if he made it through to the feature, and he is delivering the excitement. Jamie Fluke now attacking Paul Smith as they work their way into this left-hand complex. Somehow, Fluke manages to get on by, and now is going to be followed down the inside by Trevor Thiel, but Thiel hangs out the rear end of his machine. Paul Smith always runs into Jamie Fluke.
Oh, well, he hit me first.
That's
payback.
This is utter carnage, and something's happened to Craig Williams now. Funneled himself behind Parker Etzlaff, and of course in our official point standings that we are definitely not keeping a close eye on, Parker Etzlaff and Craig Williams tied on points. I think Williams has taken to the Joker this time around, or something disastrous has happened. Here's a look at the start of this race. You can see Zach Campbell tries to go the long way around, riding that wall. Connor Martel, not much he could do, gets bullied the wrong way around the jump and then gets a shot as well, I believe from Connor Daly, that forces him around. Back to live pictures, coming across onto the dirt and over the jump for the second time, or for lap number 2 in this race. Zach Campbell in a good position, being chased down by former teammate Jamie Fluke. Just behind them, you have the Fiesta in our field. That's Paul Smith. Going to get bullied as Etzlaff takes to the Joker this time around. So Joker's timing going to be crucial here, especially given how much momentum you can build up and run yourself into those opening couple of corners. How's it going, Paul? Feeling a little bit calmer now?
You would ask me at the point where I need to pull my handbrake, but yeah, it's calmed down a little bit now.
I'm not here to make your life easy. I'm here to make sure that we're providing maximum entertainment in these All-Star Invitationals for our viewers. Of course, great to have an in-race reporter who's giving us a taste of all of this action. Tim Stevens has taken to the Joker as well, coming up behind my fellow co-commentator, is over the jump. Stevens sets up the move nicely. A little bit wider. Paul Smith has to take to the Joker. He doesn't really have a choice, I think, to make sure he doesn't come under too much pressure. Paul, we're taking a look at your face right now. You don't look too happy.
Yeah, that wasn't the best line, but we made it past.
And in front of you, Tim Stevens and Parker Retzlaff putting on a show, as avoiding that inside anti-cut curve. Both cars go back down onto the hairpin. To the inside, Retzlaff takes a look, almost mounts himself onto the curb and goes over and over, but manages to bully his way past Tim Stevens, all the while now 5 seconds behind Jamie Fluke in front. So across the line this time around, it will be 5 laps on the board, 6 to go. Borja Zazo under attack from Zach Campbell. So top 4 yet to Joker as Campbell to the inside. Oh, that was aggressive. Borja Zazo, does he get it under control? No, he doesn't. Jamie Fluke will take full advantage. Borja Zazo has to watch out now. There comes the train of cars. Tim Stevens has managed to get past Parker Retzlaff, but Retzlaff can't slow his car down in time. Both cars pointed in the wrong direction, heading onto the dirt. Some incredible stuff. I mean, if the World Championship drivers can put on a show like this, we are in for an absolute treat. So Zach Campbell will be glad there's no race control, because that was a little bit aggressive. Might incur the wrath of the stewards, and now means a 2-horse fight between GoPro Lopez and Zach Campbell. Jamie Fluke did pick to the Joker, trying to just find some different strategy to work his way up the field. So halfway through, 5 laps still to go. That Team Mad car, I tell you what, is not looking factory fresh. Plenty of damage to Paul Smith's machine. As we take a look at the iRacing replay at what happened between Retzlaff and Stevens. A little bit too fast, and maybe on the anti-cut curve for Retzlaff, just runs into the rear of Roadshow's Tim Stevens, and the most dapper man in the field drops to 11th position. Retzlaff behind him. Paul Smith now to the inside of Borja Zazo. These cars fighting for 4th position, so that would be a pretty impressive finish. Paul, I'm going to bug you once more as Zazo goes wide. You better take full advantage here.
No, but you could carry the speed around the outside line. It's so easy to make a mistake through there as well.
I can hear the focus, so I'm going to try and interrupt you at least once more before the
that's fine. Keep talking to me. It's fine.
But you knew what you were signing up for when you clicked the button wrong. At least that's what.
I didn't expect to be in the feature. Let's be honest.
Well, I tell you what, you're putting on a show right now. That Team Mad car does look good as well. Great to have a Ford Fiesta in the fight. Meanwhile, out front, I tell you what.
Oh, he's off!
Oh, mistake. Borja Zazo's gone wide, and Paul Smith will happily take 4th position. Out front, though, Zach Campbell has taken to the Joker, and I can understand why, because Jamie Fluke is coming on strong. Jamie Fluke has managed to cycle his way in front of Zach Campbell. The 2 former teammates, I think now we're going to put on a show for us. Might help GoPro Lopez to win this race, because that Ford is looking comfortable. Have to see how things cycle out. After 2.5 years with the Apex Racing team, Zach Campbell left Apex after the VRS Sports Car Open Championship earlier this summer. And now has joined up with one of the most dominant forces across of sim racing.
Oh, no!
Oh, no, chaos then for Paul Smith. That's what the in-race reporter gives us. And, well, talk to us about what happened there.
No, no, that's not good. Nope, nope, nope. I can save this. I can save this. It's all good.
So Paul Smith continues to try and save it. GoPro Lopez took to the Joker. 1 second clear of Jamie Fluke and Zach Campbell. So GoPro Lopez looking good to grab his first victory of the campaign as Zach Campbell and Jamie Fluke come to blows. Bottom portion of your screen, you can take a look at the replay of what happened to Paul Smith. But now GoPro Lopez, in effect, gifted this victory. So Borja Zazo, a little bit wide. So that's the initial incident that happened for Zazo as he runs himself into the tire barrier that demarks the...
Oh, it's all gone wrong.
Oh, Paul. You're still crashing.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Good news is no damage, of course, enabled. So I'm going to be okay for Paul Smith, at least nurse that car off across the line. And I'm sure, Paul, you will feel pretty happy that at least you had the pace to be running up there in 4th, even if it didn't work out in your favor.
Yeah, it's a great consolation, that, yeah.
Well, and now you get to break out your racing driver excuses, so you better start lining them up because, well, it's the final lap of this race, and what a race it has been. Tight, technical, tricky. That describes Barcelona Catalunya to a T. But now today, we have been treated to an absolute spectacle. Zach Campbell tried to put on a show for us behind Jamie Fluke, but out front and in control, burning up his tires, GoPro Lopez wins at Barcelona and takes over the lead of our unofficial championship standings. Barcelona, my oh my, the Spanish coast, what a facility, what a track, and not like any of the Formula One races we've seen in recent memory. This was an absolute spectacle, an eclectic group of drivers that include some of the best on the iRacing service. We have NTT IndyCar drivers, we have NHR8 drivers in the forms of Ron Capps, we have Parker Retzlaff, Alker Menard Series driver, all sorts taking to iRacing and delivering a spectacle that you were treated to, and really one that, Paul, I'm sure you loved being out there. It does look as though you got a nice top 10 finish out of it.
Yeah, Craig Williams flipping it helped me, that's for sure. But yeah, that was fun. I'm not gonna lie, that was a really good way to spend a Wednesday evening.
Better than commentating? I don't know about that. GoPro Lopez, Jamie Fluke, and Zach Campbell are podium winners here then from the Spanish coast. Connor Martel recovers up to 4th, 17 seconds behind your race leader. That's how much chaos that we had. Borges Azo completes the top 5. Trevor Teal, Connor Daly, Paul Smith, Ron Cap, and Tim Stevens the top 10. Craig Williams and Parker Retzlaff not classified on the lead lap. So 12 cars, and well, I'm glad that we don't have 12 cars out there for the World Championship drivers. Post-race coverage then for our All-Stars is coming up next. You're watching the iRacing Rallycross World Championship on the iRacing Esports Network. Welcome back to the iRacing Esports Network for coverage of the 2021 iRacing Rallycross World Championship presented by Yokohama. There's one thing that separates first place from the rest of the pack, the finish line. High-performance, race-inspired Yokohama Advan tires give you the drive to win. Discover Advan at yokohamatire.com. My name is Arjuna Kankipati. Alongside is our all-star, Paul Smith, with Tyler Maxon in the production truck controlling all of the action. Paul, I mean, there was a little bit of anxiety, I think, coming into this race, especially in the World Championship camp, given how tight and tricky this track can be to pass at. But at the end of the day, hometown boy, Pablo GoPro Lopez, put on a driving clinic amongst a carnage of calamities behind him. And really, what a race we had to watch.
Yeah, that was tremendous. That was thoroughly enjoyable to be in the middle of all of that chaos and carnage, that's for sure. I'll be honest with you, a little bit disappointed with my performance there in that, but there you go. It doesn't always go your way, but yeah, GoPro Lopez, he is such an immense talent, isn't he? He truly can just extract everything out of a car.
I'm going to get some post-race interviews in a couple of moments' time, but I don't think, for those who are watching, don't expect that level of chaos in our World Championship. I think we're going to see a much more calm and conservative race, but one man who was definitely not calm or conservative was Zach Campbell. Zach, from the tail end of the field, right off the bat in that feature, you were ultra aggressive. Talk to us about your race here today.
We got in there, we had a car with some excellent mana, and we just figured we wanted to send it there. We were going to the front as hard as we could, trying our best, and we almost made it there. We came up just 2 spots short.
How much fun are you having doing these, Zach? I know we missed you over the last couple of weeks, but I'm sure it's a change of pace from the serious, action that you have to practice for in your Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup campaign. This is, show up, maybe do a couple of laps before you jump into the session, and then race with some of the most eclectic group of drivers that we have here on iRacing.
Yeah, it's really fun, honestly. Sadly we couldn't get all the stream up because OBS wanted to be fun today when I got home from school. But I'm just having a blast doing these. These are so much fun. Just rocking up, no practice, messing around with a bunch of guys. Yeah, it's a definite change of pace and definitely something that I'm really enjoying the opportunity to race in. And
talk to us then about your, I don't want to call it battle because I think that doesn't do it justice. Your cage fight with Jamie Fluke there. That looked like a bit of former teammate rivalry going on there.
Yeah, I mean, what can I say? I just had to yell at him. I mean, it's, guys like Jamie, they're super nice, they're super clean, and, sometimes you just have to exploit that and just drive them dirty. And so I took that initiative, I took that to heart, and, sometimes you just got to run over them. But luckily we're even now, we should be good, and so nothing should carry over to the next race. And so, are we going to see you in a week's time from Hell Lankenmannen? We'll have to see. I'd have to buy the track, and I think I do want to spend $14.95 on iRacing, so I think we're going to give it our best shot to be there. Well, looking forward to that, Zach. You put on a show for us today, and I really enjoyed it. Hopefully we'll see you in hell. Yeah, that's not exactly the phraseology I would have used, but yeah, hopefully it should be pretty fun, and yeah, can't wait to race again. Pun was truly intended there. So that was Zach Campbell, finished in third. Got our race winner standing by, the hometown boy, Pablo GoPro Lopez. Pablo, I mean, first, you must be thrilled to finally win a race this season, but to do it here at Barcelona as well.
Oh man, indeed amazing. And I searched for the win many times, and last time I had the pace, I think, but got some banging on Brands Hatch. But here I got lucky. I got perfect start and could overtake Borja Zazo in the hairpin, and from there on, it was just matter of keeping Zach behind and not committing any mistakes, and I did it. I can't believe it, to be honest, because the fourth is Zach says is not as fast, but I mean, I enjoyed it a lot, and being in the home track is amazing. And thank you for inviting me into these events because it's a pressure.
And I must ask as well, have you had the pleasure of coming to this track in the real world and watching any action here?
Not actually, because it's 1,000 kilometers far away from me, but not in the Rallycross layout. I watch the 24 hours of Barcelona sometimes, yes.
Ah, okay, so you've seen some endurance racing here. How much fun is this layout? Because it's tight and twisty and very difficult to pass at times.
Indeed, it's really tight, and I didn't try this layout before today, and I was amazed by the flow of it, and I quite enjoyed it, to be honest.
Well, that's great, and hopefully we'll see you continuing this run, because I think you are now the unofficial official points leader in our unofficial official point standing that we are definitely not keeping a close eye on, Pablo. Congratulations on the win. We'll see you in 7 days from hell.
Thank you. Good night.
So that was Pablo GoPro Lopez. Great to have the hometown boy win here. And Paul, I mean, definitely don't expect the World Championship to be as chaotic as that. But we know that there is tension in the air. So much is on the line. We're about to pass the halfway point of our season.
Yeah, everything's to play for now. It's going to be absolutely wonderful, and you will not want to miss a single moment of this. But yeah, it'll be a bit calmer, but not much.
So that ends the All-Stars and their run here on the Spanish coast. Don't go anywhere. World Championship competition coming up next on the iRacing Esports Network.
Today's new cars have upwards of 100 computers in them and a dashboard rivaled only by a commercial airliner. But wouldn't it be nice to really know what all that does for you? At Roadshow, we demystify the world of modern transportation with reviews of your next car, the latest news on what's changing the industry, and videos covering every screen and every new feature you'll encounter in the driver's seat. Get informed, get smart, and get going with Roadshow.
Take your driving to the next level at Dirtfish. Gain confidence behind the wheel of an all-wheel drive Subaru STI or rear-wheel drive BRZ. Get sideways with skills on gravel, mud, and tarmac. Dirtfish offers programs for every driver. Visit dirtfish.com for details.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in endorsed series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
In 2018, Nitro Rallycross took the racing world by storm with the biggest jumps, the best drivers, and the most intense action ever. In 2021, Nitro Rallycross is expanding with 5 epic races. From the mountains to the Great Lakes, the desert, and the Sunshine State, Nitro Rallycross is coming to a racetrack near you. Nitro Rallycross, the series, revving up and taking off this September.
Welcome back to the iRacing Esports Network for Round 5 in the iRacing Rallycross World Championship presented by Yokohama. There's one thing that separates first place from the rest of the pack: the finish line. High-performance, race-inspired Yokohama Advan tires give you the drive to win. Discover Advan at yokohamatire.com. My name is Arjuna Kankipati. Alongside is our all-star Paul Smith, who just had a bundle of fun around the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. But we get serious now, Paul. John Robertson has taken 2 wins so far this season. He's also got 3 Yokohama Pole Awards to his name. I have a feeling that Robertson is looking to rebound after missing out on a 3rd consecutive victory last time at Brands Hatch.
Yeah, he'll want to pick up that win here and just to really cement his position at the top of the championship. But he's got some competition this time out. This track, we've been seeing it all evening, tight, twisty. Qualifying is going to be the most important part of this for some of these drivers. If you can get the front row, you can get yourself a good result.
So let's talk about the schedule and the trip that we've been on so far. The second race in our European swing heads us to the Spanish coast, the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. 7 days from now, we'll head to Hell Langenbannen before returning stateside, Phoenix Raceway, Sonoma Raceway, and the Charlotte Motor Speedway to close things off. But here today, we are at a track that has seen so much action across so many disciplines. 2015 saw World Rallycross action come here for the first time. We race on that very same layout, Paul, albeit with a couple of alterations.
Yep, we certainly do. There's the track. Then you start off on the back straightaway here at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Head on through that first tricky section, up over the jump, swing round, and then you've got the Joker. It's a longer Joker lap here. 2.5 seconds is the delta, although in the last lap it can actually be more like 3.2 seconds. So really, it's going to be a really tricky race day for these drivers.
You'll also note that there are some anti-cut curves, especially through the tricky, twisty intersection of the lap that not necessarily present. Oh, what a shot there. It illustrates exactly what I'm talking about. Those anti-cut curves can help rotate the car, so it can be easier to get yourself turned in, but but also make it a little bit harder to be consistent over the course of the run. Here's a look then at our championship standings. John Robertson has an 8-point advantage over Joni Ollikainen. Tommy Holman and Johan Hart, the defending champions, starting to slip back now, 35 and 39 points adrift. And of course, there's a crucial battle for relegation and points-paying positions. The top 10, well, they get some prize money. They get themselves locked in for 2022, Paul. It's close between Rasmus Tuominen and Alex Bergeron.
Yeah, that battle for the relegation spot, that last spot in the automatic qualifying for next year, that is the crucial spot there. But you look at the lead that the front two have got over the rest of the championship. It's absolutely incredible what those two have done here.
And illustrates that consistency wins championships. Here's a look at our keys to victory, Paul, and I'll tell you what, you've had some fun driving around this track. Talk to us about what it takes to win here in Barcelona.
Yeah, getting the tight, twisty section absolutely spot on is going to be key, as is watching those anti-cut curbs that they don't swing you the wrong way. But as I said earlier, getting yourself a good qualifying is key to getting a victory.
And history has been written. The first time that Rallycross has been run here on the iRacing service in Barcelona, and our first 4-time consecutive Yokohama pole award. John Robertson has been so dominant in qualifying, he has ridden himself into the history books with another pole position. Kevin Ellis Jr. looking to rebound after plenty of contact at Brands Hatch. He's also feeling a bit under the weather, but plenty of work for Kevin Ellis to do. Bo Albert has had a roller coaster of a season so far. Can he rebound alongside Garrett Maines, Sindre Silva and Matt Busa, 5th and 6th positions? The Canadian Luke Krause, the final car in our 7-car field. History then for John Robertson, and we talked about consistency for him coming into the season. He's been so consistent so far, Paul.
He certainly has, and he's just proving he's learnt so much from last year, and he is looking so strong for this season now.
What can he do from pole once more? Alongside will be fellow Brit Kevin Ellis Jr. 7 cars ready to go. World Championship action for the first time here in Barcelona on the iRacing service. A good launch from Robertson. What does Bo Albert do? Contact for Albert straight away with Sindre Silva. The heartbreak continues. Luke Krause powers his way down the inside, tries to challenge Garrett Maines. It's a little bit too far behind to do anything, but Maines is going to slide his way through the dirt. Albert with his elbows out once more, 3 wide as they enter the jump. And well, from bad to worse for Bo Albert, I didn't think I could say that about the Australian.
He is now officially the unluckiest driver in all of sim racing right now. If he didn't have bad luck, he'd have no luck at all. That is just, it really sums up his first half of the season.
Here's a look then at the replay, and well, 3 wide as they funnel into the jump. Never a good situation, and significant terminal engine damage for the driver out of the Altus Esports house. Robertson and Ellis, 1 and 2 as they stand. Sindre Silva has managed to survive that contact with Albert on the opening couple of laps. Looking quick, and look at him over the jump as well. Really attacking Kevin Ellis Jr. And of course, they could have taken the Joker this time around. You can't take the Joker until you have crossed that start-finish line for the very first time. Our All-Stars came a bit unstuck with that.
Yeah, they certainly did, but these drivers, they've been practicing so much since last time. So, yeah, really, they really know exactly what it needs to do around here, and Ellis Jr. is doing a good job to say he's feeling under the weather here, holding on to John Robertson. Robertson just, as I say, he just seems to be a different driver this season, seems to have learnt so much from missing out on last season's championship, and that's what you need to do as a driver. You need to learn from what doesn't work.
And I tell you what, given that, we've talked to him every single round of this season so far, he's always got a smile on his face. But there is a doggedness behind this approach from Robertson this year, a fiery spirit that has driven him forward, and he's been incredible. And you'll also see left-hand side of your screen on that timing tower, Krause and Busa have jokered. Wait for the rest of the cars to light up and come down onto the Joker, but also a red highlight for John Robertson illustrates that he is your championship leader. It makes it very easy to track over the course of the next 4 rounds after this one. Over the jump for Kevin Ellis Jr., who was impressive in the All-Star Invitational earlier this year that Joni Ollikainen won. Sindre Silva, though, takes to the Joker this time around. Where is that going to feed out the Norwegian? Going to be in between Garrett Maines and Luke Krause, Robertson and Ellis Jr. Now, might they come down in unison this time around?
You would imagine that they're going to come down this lap. Oh, John Robertson, big mistake with the anti-cut curbs. He's going to be all out of shape here. This is Ellis Jr.'s opportunity, but no.
The Rahal Lanigan machine. I just did what you did, Paul. I bumbled up that famous 3 words, but almost into the wall goes Kevin Ellis in the Rahal Lanigan car. There we go. I got my words out at least once. Do we see them come down? Yes, we will. So Robertson and Ellis Jr. to the Joker with 1 lap left to go. That's what you'd expect. Sindre Silva, as Garrett Maines' Joker, will emerge in 3rd, but here's that run. The extra speed that you can carry out of the Joker, not going to be enough for Maines. Final lap this time around.
Yeah, it's what we expected to see them not taking the Joker on that last lap. It's just costs you too much time. Over the start! Oh, that's the anti-cut curbs. You don't want to hit them, or else you'll do that to your car.
And Luke Krause almost came on the scene and cleaned out Garrett Maines as well. But onto the dirt for the final time. Look at them slide their way, trying to hug as tight to the wall as they can, because you can see that on the left side as they enter the jump, the wall juts back out. We saw cars getting mixed up with that in our All-Star Invitational. But across the line, Robertson wins heat number 1 for the 4th time in a row, I should say. Kevin Ellis Jr. kept him honest all the way to the line. Both the 86 and the 30 looking very, very strong with heat number 1 in the books. Silva, Maines, Krause, Busa, and Albert then heading into our last chance qualifiers, as we'll take a look at the Yokohama starting grid for heat number 2. Tommy Holman, winner at Daytona, trying to return to victory lane alongside Killian Dalomo, Jake Robertson, Jarno Leskinen, row number 2. Jacob Rafoss and Tommy Nukarainen in 5th and 6th positions, while the oldest driver in the field, Johannes Vahanen, starts back in 7th for Lone Bro GRX. So we have the oldest driver in Vahanen at 38 years young, and then Jarno Leskinen, 13 years old. Both spectrums in our grid represented here today. And Johannes Vahanen has been one of our hardest chargers this season. We have a Hard Charger Award. Let's see what he can do from the tail end of this field in his Lone Bro Fiesta. 5 more laps on the board then. It'll be Tommy Holman and Killian Dalomo, the Set Esports teammates, out front, ready to go at Barcelona. It's a good launch from the front row. Can the Lanigan machine storm down the inside? He'll use the bumper on Tommy Holman. That causes a checkup. Killian Dalomo going to come off worse for wear. Jarno Leskinen, the worst of them all, though. All the way to the back for the young 13-year-old. Now Robertson, though, all on the back of Tommy Holman. There's more contact, there's more chaos on the run down into the jump. This time around, it's Nukarainen that loses out.
It certainly is, as they're going into the last 2 corners at the end of the lap through the finish line. Well, Holman, now he did move slightly before the lights went green. Will it have picked up, or did he manage to just stop it from setting off the jump start procedure? Well, we'll have to wait and see, but I did notice him just jump forward slightly before the green, so we'll have to wait and see. But still, Leskinen, the big loser in all of that, and Nukarainen as well.
And of course, you can slip yourself a little bit when you get onto the clutch. I don't necessarily think that was enough to trigger the jump start procedure, the automated iRacing race control. We're taking a look at that down the inside for the Vermont sports car machine. Jacob Rafoss, youngest versus oldest drivers in the field. Rafoss is 14 years young, slips it down the inside of Vahanen, gets the move done very, very cleanly. Down the hill in towards the hairpin then. Robertson chasing down Tommy Holman. Holman, who hasn't been on the podium since that first race of the season, missed out on the feature then in round number 2, 5th and 4th. In the last couple of rounds, trying to return to the top steps of the podium. Jake Robertson, who has not had as bad a season as Bo Albert, but has definitely not enjoyed the best of runs. I think that's putting that mildly for some of these cars, because there's been a lot of carnage for some of these competitors, but it's all about keeping your level head, Paul. Rallycross is a contact sport. Fundamentally, it's a cage match on wheels, but remembering that and not letting the frustrations boil over, that's crucial at a level like this.
Yeah, it's all about taking the emotion out of it. I mean, I know it's not Rallycross, but Jackie Stewart used to say, take emotion out of your racing and just keep focus and don't let things around you affect you in such a way that it will alter your performance out there. So, yeah, Robertson, he's not had the best of time. At Delomo, actually, Killian Delomo is right on the tail of him now. This could be a good shout for Killian.
Both these drivers have made 2 features this season. Only one will make it 3. Will it be Robertson? Will it be Delomo? Of course, we have Delomo's older brother, Quintin Delomo, who's competing for Kligerman Sport. We'll see him in action later this evening. Killian slides it deep, gets the run as well. Robertson made a mistake, and Killian Delomo took full advantage, didn't need a second invitation. Robertson will try and slide it back. It's not going to work out then. Into the tire barrier and around for Jake Robertson.
Yeah, I think Killian just opened the door slightly with his front bumper. Now, interesting that Delomo has not taken the joker, whereas Jake Robertson has. But Robertson's too far back now to really gain that position back. But, yeah, there we go. Here's the replay. There's just that little bit there, possibly a little just tap. And then Jake Robertson, the young man, he clipped that tyre barrier as well, did Jake? That would have helped his steering and suspension. More contact and into that tyre bundle.
Not sure that Robertson could do much at the end. Question is, does Jacob Rafos have the measure of Killian Delomo? That gap is about 2.5 seconds. Delta here, when you don't have the run into turn 1, is about 3.5 seconds. Tommy Holman will win heat number 2, but eyes further back. Watch this joker merge. Killian Delomo. Jacob Rafos had to take the joker. Excuse me there, I thought for a moment Rafos had already jokered. So Delomo advances, no major drama for him there. Jake Robertson will slide in through to 3rd. He'll be bitterly disappointed after contact with Delomo. Delomo makes it back to the feature after 2 consecutive features leading into this one. 4th place in Iowa, Delomo's best finish. Tommy Holman trying to return to victory lane, wins heat number 2. Let's take a look then at your Yokohama starting grid for heat number 3. It's fast and frenetic rallycross action, but sometimes it just really feels like it's a blink of an eye and things just happen. And that's what happened to Robertson there. Jarno Leskinen as well, who is in a fight for our Dirtfish Rookie of the Year with Kevin Ellis Jr. Not the best of runs for him. Contact very early on. See, had some sort of an issue there on the start. As we'll wait for the heat number 3 grid to line on up. Here we go. Winner in our All-Star Invitational earlier this year at this very track, Joni Ollikainen on pole position for Heat 3 alongside our defending champion, Johan Hart. Josh Fox and Atu Hakaleto, 3rd and 4th positions, while the second of the Delomo brothers starts in 5th alongside the king of the dirt, Alex Bergeron. Our first Spanish driver then in the field is Marcos Matamoros. He lives a 10-hour drive away from Barcelona, so not necessarily a local, but he'll be looking to try and win and replicate the success that Pablo GoPro Lopez had. We've got 2 Spanish drivers in the field, of course, Luis Nunez as well, Paul, who was ultra impressive last time at Brands Hatch.
Certainly was. Whether this track will suit his style, I don't know. It is a different style of track, not quite as open as Brands, so it's a real dogfight out there we've been seeing here today, so definitely a good shout here.
So 5 more laps on the board. Heat number 3, ready to rumble. Ollikainen and Hart on the front row. It's a good launch from the entire field. They're 4 abreast right behind the leaders. Contact for Bergeron has spat him out wide. Ollikainen trying to squeeze the Frenchman as they slide their way onto the dirt for the very first time. Ollikainen goes wide. Hart takes full advantage. Matamoros goes around as well. Incredible stuff here on the start, but there's more chaos further back, and, well, Matamoros loses out.
Yeah, he certainly does, but going into the hairpin, Bergeron's trying to fight back now. It was Bergeron who got hit by Josh Fox into that first turn, and that's what sent him out wide, but Fox missed out on that one as well, but he's got himself back up into 3rd place. Fox will be looking forward now. Can he compete with Ollikainen and Half?
Look at that line from Harth. So that's the level of precision as Alex Bergeron gets bundled around by Atu Hakoleto, manages to gather it back up. That was close for a moment for Bergeron to slide his way into the tires, but some incredible car control. They get the car rotated around so very early, but then it just seems to be an eternity before onto the power and pulling themselves away from a dead halt almost coming in through that left-hand hairpin. So Ollikainen has got his way up through. As Bergeron, I think, has had an issue, as Bergeron's now behind Hakoleto.
He's taken the Joker lap. That's what it is.
He's taken to the Joker lap. So Bergeron and Matamoros have blinked, and of course you can't take it until you've crossed the start-finish line for the very first time. So haven't seen any of our World Championship drivers make the mistake that we saw in our All-Star Invitational. Through the hairpin they go once more, sliding their way back in onto the dirt. And I tell you what, if Johan Harth can hold off Joni Ollikainen here, Paul, it will be the first time that Joni has not won the heat race this season. He is 100% coming into this one. Johan Harth trying to break that streak.
Yeah, Joni will want to try and get ahead of Johan and try and get the win here, just to give himself the best position on the grid as possible. Finishing second, that moves you down the grid. This is Heat 3, so that means that he'd be starting down in 6th place if he does finish in 2nd place in this heat. So, you know, when we've been saying all through this broadcast that qualifying and grid position is key around here, well, we've been seeing that all evening, haven't we? That front row here in the World Championship, they're the ones that have been progressing through.
I hate to correct you, Paul, but he wouldn't start in 6th. He'd start down in 8th. So Ollikainen, Ollikainen takes the Joker this time around. He knows that he's got to try something different. He'll come out behind Josh Fox, but in front of Atu Hakoleto. So a little bit of clean air. What can he do to try and close that advantage to our defending champion, Johan Harth, who has definitely not enjoyed the type of opening 4 races to his title defense that he would have wanted. 4th and 3rd to kick things off before 8th at Iowa. Rebounded to a podium last time at Brands Hatch, but Harth on double duty with Dallara iRacing Grand Prix Championship duties on Thursdays as well. So competing in multiple World Championships just makes you that much busier. Josh Fox, will he come down to the Joker and release Ollikainen? Yes, he does. For Johan Harth, he's on the Joker as well. Watch the merge here. Harth around the outside, and that was close. I did say watch that Joker merge. Almost contact there for the race lead.
I think that was a case of Johan cutting off that line and forcing Joni to miss out on that one. There you see the 2 drivers, 1st and 2nd place. Joni on the bottom, and it's Johan on the top of the screen there. Final lap of the race, and I think Harth, he just needs to keep it clean now, and he'll be through in the win.
Watch the hands as well. Such quick hands trying to react to what the car is doing, especially through the dirt where you need to make sure that you've got it pointed in the right direction at all points in time. Through the final corner then for the final time in heat number 3. Johan Harth wins his 3rd heat on the season. Joni Ollikainen in 2nd. His first non-win in a feature event, but both drivers will advance. The rest of the cars coming over the line right now. Atu Hakoleto will be followed by Spanish driver Marcos Matamoros, Josh Fox, Quintin Dalomo, Alex Bergeron, Hakoleto, and Matamoros. Those cars are not advancing. And just like that, it's time to take a look at the Yokohama starting grid for heat number 4. Luis Nunez on pole. He's only about 3 hours away from Barcelona. What can he do alongside Vicente Salas, who has been so impressive during 2021? Rasmus Toivonen has real-world experience here. He's flipped a Super 1600 car before, hoping not to do that on the iRacing service. Otto Taskinen in the 199 with Louis Lejeune and Thomas Wangen to round out the top 6. Tony Latinmäki, final car in our final heat of the day. I'm sure, Paul, that rolling a car on iRacing is much less stressful than rolling a car in the real world.
It's also costs less as well, that's for sure, for all the panels and bits that you have to repair on the car. But yeah, I don't think I've been wanting to do that here today, that's for sure.
So here we go. Final heat on the day, ready to go in Barcelona. It's a good launch from Nunes. Tuominen immediately covers off Louis Lejeune, who returns the favor and sends all sorts of carnage going on. Otto Taskinen, just an innocent bystander, goes flying around. Out front, though, Nunes and Salas side by side, dueling it out as they come into the jump for the very first time. The Spanish driver continues to lead the way as through the final corner, across the line for the very first time.
Yeah, Nunes cut off that inside route. He was not giving a single inch along that long sweeping right-hander. And, well, Salas had to just hold back. Here's the replay of the start, and you see the contact and more, and then it's just innocent party. Taskinen just minding his own business. He thought he was clear, and then around he goes. Oh! Contact between your leaders.
Salas is aggressive. He was so close to victory at Atlanta. Now uses that long way around. We know you can build speed, but the track funnels down. He's not going to be able to get alongside with the Altus Esports machine heading into the final couple of corners. One of these cars might elect to take a joker slightly earlier, but Nunes keeps the door open. He'll swing around the outside. Salas is still there through turn one. Lots of momentum on Nunes' side, but Salas still has that little bit of overlap that will let them run side by side. Nunes holds on for now. This is amazing racing in Barcelona.
But all this fighting is allowing Latin Marchi to catch up to them. Again, Salas, big mistake there. That's cost him some time, and that's just allowed Nunes to just move ahead now. But yeah, don't ride out the 92 car out of this battle. I just feel that Salas needs to do something different. He needs to do the opposite of what Nunes does here, but no, they both stay in there.
I think Latin Mackie is taken to the joker, so he's the one trying something different as we look on board with the Elliott Sadler Esports car of Vicente Salas, race winner in 2021 in your eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series. Close to a championship run as well. Got through to the playoffs, of course, by virtue of that victory at the Richmond Raceway. And then heartbreak during that playoff portion of the season. Look at the hands here. Gets that car spun around and pointed in the right direction to hug the wall in towards the jump. If I was Salas, I'd go down to the joker this time around. It seems to be the thing that you would do, but he's going to stay out there and follow Nunes around. 2 laps to go this time around.
Yeah, I think basically now that he's set in his ways and he's just going to follow Nunes through. He wants to make sure he gets at least second place in that automatic transfer through to the feature race. He doesn't want the lottery of the last chance qualifiers, because we've seen all season what those last chance qualifiers are like.
If things hold as they are, it will also be the first time that Nunes has advanced straight to a feature race. So we'll wait and see. I'm sure the Logitech G-Altus team house is watching on with bated breath, especially given the misfortune that Bo Albert has had to deal with to the joker this time around, though. That is crucial from Nunes. He knows that he couldn't afford to wait till the final lap. Salas had to do something different, but it might cost him 9/10 of a second when all things are said and done.
Yeah, and it's showing, isn't it? This is where that difference now. Nunes, he's got him in front, he's got him in sight. He knows as long as he's within that 2.5 to 3 seconds, he knows that he's got that lead sewn up.
So through onto the dirt for the final time in our heat races. Tuominen will have to joker this time around as well. So Nunes in a good spot. The question is, has Latin Mackie done enough? Great shot. We'll take a look at the joker. Salas very wide on the entry. He's going to be able to cover off Latin Mackie. It's going to be close between Latin Mackie and Tuominen, but Tuominen comes out behind Louis Lejeune at the end of the day. So Nunes, first victory in a heat. The first time he's also advanced straight to a feature through the heat. He'll line up then in a career best 4th position in our 10-lap main event. Salas will line up then back in 8th position. Tony Latin Mackie will be in 3rd. Louis Lejeune, Rasmus Tuominen, Thomas Wangen, and Otto Taskinen also heading to the last chance qualifiers. The first of them ready to grid. Here's a look at the Yokohama starting grid. Sindre Silva and Josh Fox on the front row, with Garrett Maines and Quintin Dalomo row number 2. 5th and 6th, it's the 2 Canadians, Luke Krause for Nitro Circus, Alex Bergeron for Jim Beaver Esports, while Matt Busa will line up for Ed Carpenter Racing in 7th. Atu Hakaleto alongside Bo Albert and Marcos Matamoros on the end of this grid. And, well, we said it during his heat, but Bo Albert, he couldn't get much worse luck than what he's had this season. I'm sure he must be feeling pretty frustrated, Paul, but can't afford to let his head drop.
Well, he's going to be even more frustrated now because he's actually lost connection to the server, which is even worse. So just when it rains, it pours in the Logitech GL2C Sports House.
Simon Feig will have to keep his driver consoled because that will be heartbreak. But ready to go. 5 more laps in the first of our last chance qualifiers. It's a good launch from basically everybody. 4 wide in the background, but out front, Sindre Silva in control, gets a bit of bumper cars played with Garrett Maines. Josh Fox takes full advantage to slide his way into the lead. Utter carnage, and I think that was Matt Busa who crashed hard. Alex Bergeron, the meat in the sandwich. They're continuing to wreck. Sindre Silva makes it 3 wide for the race lead. Incredible stuff, but Josh Fox in control.
Wow, as in control as he can be with these amount of drivers trying to get the win off him. And this is, I think, is about the closest we've seen one of these last chance qualifiers be in this season so far. But Josh Fox, he's desperate to make it to a feature race. It's not, but again, it's another driver who's not been having the best of seasons. There's a mistake from our driver in second place, Garrett Maines, and that allows Sindre Silva to catch up. But Fox, crucially now, starting to pull away.
Josh Fox made the feature in our season opener at Daytona, but our 2018 title contender has really struggled since then. Silva and Maines are putting on a show. So much contact that Atu Hakaleto has nowhere to go except to the Joker. Maines turns Silva around. Take a look at the iRacing replay at what happened on the start. Watch for Matt Busa here. What happens to his machine? Just gets clipped around from behind. Not much that he could do. Meanwhile,
that was Bergeron who clipped him in all of that, and then you got even the end of that with all the chaos happening around there. Busa is out of this race.
Almost instant for Matt Busa, so disappointing, I'm sure, for the Illinois native, but we know just how strong and competitive Matt Busa is. So Hakaleto on back is taken to the Joker as cars launch themselves over the jump. That's Sindre Silva, who does come down to Joker this time around. He's lost out as a result of all of that argy-bargy. And just a reminder as well, only one of these cars will advance, Paul. So really, Josh Fox, who is almost 2 seconds clear of Garrett Maines now, in a very comfortable position.
Well, this is it. I was praising them for being as close as they were at the towards the end of the first lap, but then Silva and Maines just decided to carry on a battle from a heat race earlier on in the evening, and that's just allowed Josh Fox to pull away here. Silva, he's getting caught up, and that's slowing him down. That's a disadvantage of taking the Joker early here, because it is that longer penalty, effectively. You can then get into the traffic, and it just slows you down.
And since you like to be pedantic, Paul, for the first time, this is an actual longer Joker lap. So, yes, last time at Brands Hatch, it was time-wise a longer Joker, but technically it was a shorter distance on the track because it was to the inside of Clark Curve, that final curve at Brands Hatch, but a very bumpy and very dirt-lidden Joker lap. Silva lights up the rear tires as he gets onto the handbrake. Luke Krause, a little bit of contact there, but of course this is not really doing much other than costing these cars a little bit more time. Gap between Fox and Maines has come down. It's now down at half a second. What's happening to Josh Fox? Both cars to the Joker this time around. It's what we'd expect coming to the white flag. Maines is going to have to be aggressive on Bergeron. Disposes with the world champion on the dirt oval side of things. Maines versus Fox. One more lap to go.
Maines is just a bit too far back. He's trying everything. He's clipping tire bundles. He's over the curbs. He's doing everything he can to try and catch up and pass Josh Fox, but I think he's just pushing a little bit too hard now.
An update on what happened to Bo Albert. Power went out in the Altus team house, so I'm sure that entire house is now frustrated as well, not just Bo Albert. Across the jump for the final time, though, Josh Fox, after 3 disappointing rounds, returns to feature racing action. He wins the last chance qualifiers. Garrett Maines did what he could, but little too late. Maines in second. Hakaleto will be across the line in third. Mad scramble between Silva, Krause, and Bergeron, who complete this last chance qualifier in that order. Quintin Del Olmo, Marcos Matamoros, and Matt Busa to round out the last chance qualifier. Bo Albert didn't even make the starting grid. And speaking of starting grids, let's take a look at that Yokohama starting grid for the second of our last chance qualifiers. One more spot in our 10-lap feature is on the line. And it will be Jake Robertson who takes us to the green flag. He looked strong in his heat, but had a little bit too much contact. Tony Latin-Mackie will be alongside. Jacob Rafos, Luis Lejeune's third and fourth positions. Jarno Leskinen, crucial for him in the hunt for the Dirtfish Rookie of the Year award. He'll be alongside a driver that's had plenty of experience here in the real world. Rasmus Tuominen has not only rolled his car, but also finished on the podium in Super 1600. Tommi Nukkarainen, Thomas Wangen, 7th and 8th. Johannes Vähänen and Otto Taskinen. Taskinen, who was an innocent bystander in his heat, got cleaned out on the start, will line up at the tail end of the field. To 5 more laps, all for one final spot in our 10-lap main event. We're ready to race in Barcelona. And away we go. 5 more laps. It's a good launch from Robertson. A little bit of contact from Rafos behind. They're all going around. Lejeune almost pointed around back where they started. Robertson in control, though. I think Vähänen is really sent it into the corner. That turns Leskinen around. Some really aggressive driving. Jacob Rafos, Jake Robertson side by side. They're still squabbling for the race lead. This is crucial. Robertson just about in control. Look at the car, already aggressively pointing to the inside. Latin-Mackie trying to get the run into turn number 2.
Yeah, this is it now. Robertson, he's got that little bit of a gap. That's what he wants out there. And yeah, it's not enough of a gap to be comfortable yet, but he's in that position where he needs to be ahead of Rafos. But Rafos, just clips that tyre bundle, and we've got more drama down at the hairpin. Everybody's involved.
About 7 cars? 7 cars involved in that one. It means it's basically now a 2 or 3 horse race. There's still cars stopped and stationary in the middle of the track. Not what you want to see. Robertson and Rafos then squabbling over your race lead. Rasmus Tuominen might still be in with a shot here, you know? He's worked his way up into 3rd. If he can get onto the back of these 2 cars, see a little bit more scrapping between these 2 competitors, he may be looking at a potential feature race appearance for the Set GRX machine. Going to take a look then at the iRacing replay of what happened down into the hairpin then. So many cars involved. Nukkarainen, Vähänen, Leskinen, Latin-Mackie, the list goes on and on. So you can see Taskinen in front of Leskinen. Leskinen kind of gets driven into the corner by Tuominen there. Race control, we'll have to take a look at that, Paul.
That was like a scene from the Blues Brothers or something. Big contact. That's going to be talked about afterwards, that's for sure. Jake Robertson won't appreciate that hit. I mean, it is a contact spot, but that is a bit too far.
Rafos looking for his first feature race since Iowa, where he did finish 7th, so trying to rebound and bounce his way back. And back to live pictures. Rafos makes the mistake. Tuominen's going to take advantage. Around goes Robertson. Tuominen has to get onto the anchors, and Robertson is going to be so furious. It's going to be good that we don't have team communications from the Robertson household.
If he wasn't angry before, he is angry right now. Here's a replay. So this is what happened then to Rafos. A little bit of contact. I think that's a little bit of afters from what happened at the last corner. And then Robertson, Rafos, and then Tuominen is like, well, if we're all going to get involved in this one, I want a piece of the action.
You're going to throw a hook, I want to throw a hook. Someone had to throw an uppercut eventually, and, well, unfortunately, Tuominen just a little bit too aggressive. Tuominen did joker, though. So now the question is, can Rafos cover off Tuominen? Oh, this is crazy, Paul. We still got a couple of laps to go, but this is by far the most action-packed 5 laps we've seen, including the All-Stars.
Well, hang on a second. You know, I think that 3rd heat was a pretty action-packed race, but the drivers out there, they're just going hell for leather here. It's bare knuckle stuff is this, and well, Rafos has taken his joker lap, and he has found himself still in the lead of this race. There he is.
So it's half a second. Can Tuominen do anything here? He knows what it's like to wheel a car around Barcelona in the real world. How does that translate to the sim? He's going to get his elbows out. Rafals, can he hold on? It's going to be close. I think Torminen knows he's got to let Rafals have the position and fight another day. So still an opportunity, but with race control watching on in the background, Torminen known he had to get it done cleanly. He does get it done cleanly. There's going to be lots of discussion, though, about that move. Lots of discussion, but Torminen wins the last chance qualifier to start at the tail end of our 10-lap feature. I'm not so sure about that one, Paul. I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I think that the race stewards are going to have a long sit down with a few of these drivers out of this particular last chance qualifier, but it does mean we say goodbye to everybody below Rasmus Torminen.
The Torminen lives to fight another day. 9 drivers watching on then from the sidelines. 28 of the finest on the iRacing service have been whittled down to the fastest 10 here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Feature racing action next on the iRacing Esports Network.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in indoor series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the iRacing Esports Network for coverage of the 2021 iRacing Rallycross World Championship presented by Yokohama. There's one thing that separates first place from the rest of the pack: the finish line. High-performance race-inspired Yokohama Advan tires give you the drive to win. Discover Advan at yokohamatire.com. My name is Arjuna Kankipati, alongside is Paul Smith, as we get set for the 5th round of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship to come to a close. It marks the halfway point of the season. 2 drivers have been the class of the field, so consistent. Joni Ollikainen, but our championship leader, John Robertson, has set history here today, Paul. The first driver to get 4 consecutive Yokohama Pole Awards in 4 seasons of competition. Here's a look at our schedule. One more round on our European swing left to go. Can anyone stop John Robertson? He has been so consistent in qualifying, and we talked about it coming into this one. A key to victory? Qualifying well.
Absolutely, and it shows exactly why you wanted to qualify well. It gives you that nice spot, prime spot in the first of your heats, and then that means that you can just focus on getting the win in heat number 1. That gives you pole position in this feature race, and that's prime real estate for John Robertson. But there's a few drivers out there that want to give Robertson a fight. Ollikainen, Holman, Half, the list goes on. They all want a piece of that action, but how good has John been so far?
I've been loving the fiery dogginess that Robertson has had. Here's a look at our prizes. Of course, $25,000 on the line, and first through 10 they get prize money, but there are awards to go out as well. Our Yokohama Pole Award that at this point looks like it's going to John Robertson. Don't know if anyone's going to be able to stop him at this point with 4 out of the 5 poles already. Just 4 races left to go. Got a Dirtfish Rookie of the Year award, which of course does mean actual prizes, a complimentary 3-day course from Dirtfish, the official rallying school of iRacing Rallycross. That's a battle between Kevin Ellis Jr. and Jarno Leskinen heading into this round, but Leskinen has missed out on the feature. Kevin Ellis has made that feature once more, so it looks like Kevin Ellis is in control. We've also got our most improved driver of the year. Currently looks like Vicente Salas will be holding on to that one, at least as things stand. And then our hard charger, which is one of my personal favorites, might not be able to qualify well, but how can you work your way up through the field? based on what we saw in that last chance qualifier, Paul, 10 cars on the grid here, as long as we get through the start cleanly, we know we might be in for a treat. But that's a big question mark given what we've just seen.
Yeah, big grid going into that first turn. Everyone wants to do well. I think the difference here, though, is that the big points are on offer here in this race, and you know that every position counts. Yes, you want to, there won't be the same desperation, because in those last chance qualifiers, it is all about that one spot, and everyone is desperate to get that one spot. Here, it's more about the points paying, and you won't see drivers quite as desperate here today.
Well, let's turn up the most famous song in all of esports. Let's get hyped and let's take a look at our Yokohama starting grid for round 5 of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship. We're on the coast of Spain at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. This has put on a show so far. The next 10 laps should be nothing different. John Robertson once more leads us to the green flag. He'll be alongside Tommy Holman, looking to return to victory lane after winning at Daytona. Johan Harp has not won this season. In his quest to reclaim his championship, he'll be alongside the Spanish driver Luis Nunez, who has been so strong and so consistent so far today. Kevin Ellis Jr., Killian Delomo complete the top 6 positions. Johnny Olakainen, Vicente Salas, the 2 final drivers advancing directly from our heats. Josh Fox, Rasmus Tormanen managed to get through the malaise of last chance qualifiers. Let's get some predictions here, Paul, very quickly. What are you thinking about this race?
I'm thinking if Robertson gets the good launch, he's in for a very nice payday here in this race. But don't write out Tommy Holman. The outside line, we've been seeing a good run on the outside. Gives you the power out of that first corner.
We are 2 by 2, ready to rumble for 10 laps in Barcelona. For the first time in Rallycross Championship history, iRacing is headed to the Spanish coast. We are racing in Barcelona. Good launch from Robertson, but Holman has got the whole shot. A little bit deep on the brakes. Robertson has taken advantage to reclaim the race lead. No changes at the front. Side by side, Kevin Ellis Jr. is scrapping it out with Josh Fox. Salas has thrown it down the inside. Great move from the spectacular Californian driver in front. Holman, though, somehow has managed to squeeze through over the jump. Incredible stuff. Olakainen to third as well.
Oh, and Ellis Jr. spun around. So too is Josh Fox in that last turn as they go underneath the banner for the finish line. But yeah, what a first lap for Tommy Holman. He now needs to keep this up for a set esports win.
Here's a look then at the replay, and here's a look at the carnage into the final corner. So you'll see Salas is clear. Fox, not much that him or Kevin Ellis could do. Tormanen has been through the wars here today, has been involved in multiple bits of contact. Some more side-by-side action. Harth trying to get past Olakainen. This is crucial. Subaru Motorsports trying to run up on the podium spots. Harth goes to the Joker. I think that was important because now he'll have some clean air, plenty of time to work to try and close in on the leaders.
Yeah, he realizes that he can't get involved in a battle like he was, and that means that he can really just focus on now doing some clean laps, getting some good times in. I feel that if Olakainen wants to react, he needs to react on this lap. Although saying that, he's got clear air in front of him, and Salas has dropped back a little bit.
We'll wait and see. I think we're going to take a look at another replay. What's happened here? Down the hill into the hairpin. Kevin Ellis mixed up with, is that Rasmus Tormanen again? Yes, it is, I think. Luis Nunez getting, after a great starting position for the Spaniard. Now down in 6th, not exactly where I think Nunez would have been hoping to finish. So Hart's still the only car that has taken to the Joker so far. But look at Robertson all over the rear end of Tommy Holman. This is a fight for the ages between Set Esports and Subaru Motorsports at this point in time, Paul.
Oh, this is tremendous. All season it's been these two teams, hasn't it? It's been these two pushing each other to the limit and sometimes beyond as well. But Holman right now just has that edge over Robertson. It's a question of when do you take that Joker lap now. They both have their spotter working with them, looking at the delta, looking at the timing sheet and saying, right, if you take it now, you'll come up behind somebody. Stay out, we'll do another lap, see where you are in a lap's time.
And so here at the onboard look with John Robertson. Now a history maker here as well. Salas is taking to the Joker, so that's released Hearth up into 4th. Subaru and Set locking out the top 4 positions. They've done that on 2 occasions so far in 2021. Will they make it a 3rd, or can Salas bring a surprise on the Frenchman in front of him? They are closing on Ollikainen. The gap between Ollikainen and Hearth is down to 2.4, so Ollikainen might be getting the word from his spotter to come down on Joker very shortly, because Hearth is making some inroads into the gap. Lap 5 underway right now. Next time around, he'll be halfway through this race.
Yeah, Ollikainen though reacted on that last lap and gained just over half a second over Johan Hearth, and around a lap that's about 41 and a bit seconds long. That is a huge amount of time to gain on 1 lap.
Ollikainen then, I would suspect, might come down. He's actually opened the gap up very slightly. It's going back and forth, so it does indicate that despite the fact both drivers are in Subarus, maybe stronger at one portion of the track than the other. That's playing out in the Deltas as well. And of course, open setups for these series, so you will see some different car behaviors as drivers develop their cars to respond the way that they want. Look at them clambering over the anti-cut curves. Those aren't there in real life. These drivers have to make full advantage, take full advantage of them to rotate their car. Robertson, so close to the back of Holman. Where is he going to get the move done, Paul? I think it's going to have to be Joker strategy, because you can pass here, but it's going to require so much contact that you'll lose more time to the cars behind you.
You'll trip over each other and slow each other down. That's what you'll do. So Robertson, to be honest, Robertson, I think he's happy just sat behind at the moment, keeping the pressure up on Tommy Holman. But you can see them both, Holman on the top left, Robertson bottom left. Look at the focus and the concentration from both of them. No wasted energy in, getting angry or smiling or anything. It's just pure focus on those faces.
In towards the dirt, they'll slide one more time. Of course, Tommy Holman coming off a bumper year in real-world competition. Rally X Nordic champion in Supercar Lights in 2021. So not necessarily a full-blown supercar, but he knows what it's like. Robertson decides to do something different. He couldn't just run around in the tire tracks of his main competitor in today's race. He takes to the Joker, has emerged about a second behind Joni Ollikainen. Now has some work to do. Ollikainen, if he wanted to, could play the team game, but that's not what we're going to see. That's not what Joni wants to do, given that he's second in the championship behind John Robertson.
No, absolutely not. And Joni, if he starts playing that team game, well, that plays right into the hands of Johan Hearth. So Joni, I think he could possibly Joker this lap, take that now, because between him and Hearth, I mean, there's not much time at all. 2.8, 2.9 seconds. You're around about that Joker Delta. And, well, Ollikainen staying out there, and Robertson stuck behind for the time being.
Can also see the live points as things run. Of course, Robertson and Ollikainen expected to switch that around. Josh Fox and Killian Delomo coming together on the entry into the final couple of corners. I think Rasmus Tormanen has gotten mixed up in that one as well. The 44 car of Ollikainen, though, holding on strong, at least for the time being. Tommy Holman looking to become the second multi-time winner in 2021. Would take him to 4 career victories in his iRacing Rallycross career. This is the time, though, we'd expect both Holman and Ollikainen to come down and Joker. Holman already through. Not going to be enough for John Robertson. Holman to the race lead.
Oh, that's worked out perfectly for Tommy Holman. And what's more, he gained a little bit of time as well over Robertson out of all of that. Ollikainen, crucially as well, coming out ahead of Johan Hearth. So it's worked out nicely for Set Esports here.
Holman, right from the start, got the launch that he would have wanted. After that, had to fight back over the jump to take the race lead. Has controlled since then. Tommy Holman, winner at Daytona, did not enjoy the best of runs after that. No podiums other than that win to speak of. But Tommy Holman, a winner once more. He wins in Barcelona. It's his 4th career iRacing Rallycross victory. John Robertson continues an incredible streak of podiums. 5 consecutive podiums to his name. He's also now a history maker, a 4-time consecutive Yokohama Pole Award winner. What a race Barcelona delivered, the All-Stars first, then Sim Racing's finest. Tommy Holman victorious by almost 1 second from the Subaru Motorsports USA car of John Robertson. Joni Ollikainen rounds out the podium, the same 3 cars on the podium that we saw last time at Brands, slightly different order between the Set Esports teammates. Johan Hart, then our defending champion, back in 4th, misses out on the podium, unfortunately for him. Of course, it's a Subaru and Set lockout on the podium, top 4 once more. The 3rd time this season we've seen those 2 teams dominant in this tournament. Vicente Salas back into the top 5. What an opening start to the campaign he had after then having to go through some disappointment in some of our most recent races. Back in the top 5, very much looking like the most improved driver in 2021. Josh Fox 6th, Luis Nunez, hometown boy, unlucky for him. Multiple contacts for him in the feature, but plenty of place. A 2nd consecutive top 7 finish. Kevin Ellis Jr., Killian Delomo, and Rasmus Torminen round out our 10-car field. Barcelona delivered the excitement. The first time we've seen World Championship action here on the iRacing Rallycross scene in sunny Spain. We'll be back with post-race coverage next on the iRacing Esports Network.
Nitro Rallycross took the racing world by storm with the biggest jumps, the best drivers, and the most intense action ever. In 2021, Nitro Rallycross is expanding with 5 epic races. From the mountains to the Great Lakes, the desert, and the Sunshine State, Nitro Rallycross is coming to a racetrack near you. Nitro Rallycross, the series, revving up and taking off this September.
Welcome back to post-race coverage of the 2021 iRacing Rallycross World Championship presented by Yokohama. There's one thing that separates first place from the rest of the pack: the finish line. High-performance race-inspired Yokohama Advan tires give you the drive to win. Discover Advan at yokohamatire.com. My name is Arjuna Kankipati, alongside is Paul Smith for the action. And for the first time, Paul, Barcelona held World Championship action here on the iRacing service. What a treat we would display to Tommy Holman's 2nd victory on the season. Our title fight is looking epic. 3 main competitors, Set Esports, and 1 Subaru Motorsports driver.
Yeah, it's absolutely tremendous. This season just keeps on getting better, doesn't it? Okay, it was a bit wild at times out there between the drivers, and a bit too much contact for my liking with some of the punt-to-passers, but still, that battle at the front was definitely one for the ages.
And we've now got the driver that finished in 3rd position standing by. It's Joni Ollikainen. And Joni, well, it's been a consistent season for you. Your lowest finish has been 4th. You won last time at Brands Hatch, but this is such a difficult track to pass at that if you weren't leading heading into the first corner, it was always going to be an uphill battle from there. How excited were you, though, to make it a Set Esports 1 and 3?
Yeah, I'm really happy with P3, especially after having some tough moments in heat and also on lap 2 in final. So I'm really happy to come back into P3.
And talk to us about this track, Joni, because you won here in our All-Star Invitational earlier in the year, which, yes, it was a fixed setup race, but I'm sure it gave you a little bit of an insight as to how this was going to drive. It's tight and twisty, and, you know, the anti-cut curves, especially in the middle sector of the lap, make it very difficult to follow closely.
Yeah, it's a really difficult track. It's so easy to make mistakes, and you have to be so precise in all the places. But yeah, I kind of like it. I was struggling a bit in practice to find the pace, but it was quite decent in the end. And yeah, in the race, it's so hard to follow all the other cars here, especially in hairpin. If you really try to stay on the bumper of the other cars, you almost all the times you will hit the car in front, so I had to take it quite carefully, especially in final when I was behind John in lap 2. So when I took it maybe a bit too carefully, Johan hit me a bit, so I almost spin, and then we had some fights in the next corner, so I lost quite a lot of time, but yeah, I'm still quite happy with P3.
Well, and next time I'm sure you'll be delighted to head to Hell-Lankenbanen, which you told me was your favorite track on the calendar this season. So how excited are you about our final trip to a European track this season?
Yeah, I'm quite excited. I think Hell is one of our strongest tracks for the whole team, so I think we will be quite strong there, so I'm really looking forward.
Congratulations, Johnny, on your third place finish. Second place in the championship. It's an exciting championship fight.
Thanks, and thanks to my team, Set Esports, and all of my teammates, and of course all of my sponsors and partners, and special thanks to Joe for spotting me today, as my spotter Alexi couldn't come today, so it was nice that Joe was spotting for me today, so thanks to him.
So that was Joni Olakainen, third place here from Barcelona. Next up, it's the Subaru Motorsports USA machine of John Robertson. Our championship leader is standing by with Paul Smith.
Well, it wasn't quite the perfect day for you out there, but you can't really ask for much more than that. Second place here in our feature race. You must still be happy with that to take away a big ton of points.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, just getting pole and winning the heat is a major achievement in itself, with kind of how random these races can be. But yeah, to be on the podium again, it's like I said at the start of the season, we just keep aiming for consistency each race. So I'm not too worried about, losing 3 points for the race win, because we've already bagged a load of points in qualifying in the heat anyway.
And that's it. I mean, you talk about the launch that you were getting with Tommy Holman. He got a slightly better start. I thought you were going to have it with you getting the position back on that lap 1. Just how intense is it out there on that opening lap when you're out there fighting for the win?
Yeah, it's so tough. I mean, into that dirt right-hander, I kind of went a little bit wide just in case there was a wreck behind. I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to get caught up in it like I did at Brands Hatch. But it turned out there wasn't, so Tommy managed to get up the inside of me, and obviously he got the position. But yeah, I don't think I would have done anything differently. Obviously, just trying to get these consistent positions, you've got to be a little bit safe sometimes. But yeah, like I said, really good points this week. Really happy.
And of course, Hell-Lankenbanen next week. Another track that's difficult to overtake at. Is it just that same approach, just consistency, try and get that pole position, and then just go from there?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's the same approach every week, to be honest, no matter how easy or hard it is to overtake. But yeah, Hell is one of those tracks, tight and twisty. It's so hard to get a move done cleanly. It would definitely be an interesting one, though. The Joker's quite useful in trying to kind of get a tactical advantage over people. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, John Robertson, championship leader for Subaru Motorsport USA. Congratulations, P2 in the feature race.
Thanks, guys.
And not just P2 and the championship leader, but a history maker as well. Now, 4 consecutive Yokohama pole awards into the pocket of John Robertson. Last but not least, it is our race winner for the second time this season, Tommy Holman. Tommy, you must be delighted. You got a monster launch there. A little bit of contact let John Robertson slip on past to get back to the lead. But by the time we came across the line for the first time, you managed to find some magic way around. How exciting was that start? And from there, you dominated today's race.
Yeah, thanks a lot. It was quite interesting race. I think the first lap was quite intense, and yeah, it was tight between John in the second corner. But I think there was a small amount of contact. But I think that was like normal rallycross racing, so not anything too bad. And yeah, I must say huge thanks to all of my partners and Set Esports. It has been amazing race this time, and after a really difficult couple of events, so it's really nice feeling to get the win now.
And after winning back in Daytona. It didn't go so easy for you after that, right? I mean, Atlanta, you didn't qualify for the feature, and then 5th and 4th the last couple of races. So winning a championship when you have someone like John, who has been on the podium every single time this season so far, it's going to be about consistency and consistently up at the front as well. What do you need to try and beat him? Because he's been so good in qualifying. He's been pretty good in the races as well. So what are you going to have to do differently in the second half of the season? Now just 4 races left to go.
Yeah, I think we just need to be up there in the podium all the time with Jonne, and yeah, it needs some misfortune from John, that's for sure. But yeah, I think I had my misfortune in Atlanta, and yeah, hopefully I don't want anyone to have bad luck, but yeah, that's probably what I will need if I will try to fight for the title. It's quite big difference to the front now, but I'm trying to, if I can win, let's say even half of the races what's rest, so that then it would be quite close, but still it would need some misfortune for John, I think.
And talk to us about the difference between, you know, the American rallycross tracks that we've got versus the Europeans, because obviously this is a track that's seen World Rallycross action. Hell Lankenbanen next week, that's, you know, also a track that's seen lots of World Championship action as well. But it's a very different style of a circuit, not just the Joker, which usually is a shortcut in America, a longer lap here in Europe. What's the difference like for you from a technique point of view?
Yeah, I think for me, I prefer the European tracks because obviously I've driven here in real life in Europe, so the sort of track layouts are a bit more familiar. I think especially here in Barcelona, there's quite a lot of different combinations, like 3-corner combinations, and which didn't really exist in the American tracks so much. So I really like these tracks, and as you said, the Joker is slower here, and that's, from my point of view, I think it's better that way. So from you know, the tactical side of the race, it's easier to make like passes and everything if it's slower. So yeah, I really like the European tracks, and I hope that we will have good pace also in Norway.
Congratulations, Tommy. Great drive from you and the team. Looking forward to seeing you in Hell in 7 days' time.
Thanks a lot. See you there.
So Tommy Holman, winner for the 2nd time this season. And that's about wraps things up here from Barcelona, Paul. But before we say goodbye, of course, let's remind everyone, 7 days from now, the final trip, or final visit on our European trip here. Hell Lankenbanen, that is an incredible track. And it was our season opener last year as well, one of 2 visits that we had to Norway in our 2020 World Championship. Bo Albert had a little bit more luck last year than he's had all of this year. So he'll be hoping that things swing back in his direction. But what a track it is. So much more elevation change than most of the tracks we've got this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said in the interview with John, it's quite a difficult track to overtake at, is that one. And it's just, yeah, it's tricky. You need to get good qualifying again. But yeah, the Joker lap could be an interesting shout next time out.
And so before we go as well, let's take a look at the live points situation. Heading out of the circuit Barcelona, it is now an 11-point advantage for John Robertson. Holman hasn't really closed the gap as much as you'd expect, and that's because, Paul, there is points for qualifying, there is points for the heat as well. So you're right when you say that Robertson doesn't need to be ultra aggressive in the feature. Consistency wins championship. Consistency has got John Robertson to the lead of our championship.
It certainly has, and as I say, he's matured so much this season. It is absolutely tremendous to see that maturity come through.
Well, that wraps things up from Barcelona as round 5 of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship presented by Yokohama is in the books. The World Championship action continues tomorrow on the iRacing Esport Network as the Force Dynamics Dallara iRacing Grand Prix Championship heads to the Hockenheim Ring, a track that's hosted its own share of World Rallycross action for the round 6 in 2021. Catch the action at 7 p.m. UTC or 3 p.m. Eastern. We'll be back in 7 days' time as the virtual paddock heads to Hell for the final European stop on our calendar at Lankenbanen in Norway for round 6 of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship on October 27th. Until then, we'd like to thank you for joining us on the iRacing Esports Network. On behalf of the entire team at iRacing, for Dougie Beard providing all of our cameras, for our production team of Tyler Maxson, Joshua Lee, and Ryan Bauer, for my co-commentator Paul Smith, my name is Arjuna Kankipati. Congratulations to Tommy Holman, winner on the Spanish coast.